Hey everyone, okay, so this is a very important series because this subject comes up a lot. And we did some grip pressure videos at one point that we're actually going to take out because we've improved a lot on that subject. And so many of you are getting in, you haven't been with us for a very long time, and you've been told, okay, we got to hold it like a bird. And others have said, okay, I want my spaghetti arms. I don't want a tension in my arms. So since I'm trying to take the tension out of my arms, I'm making my arms into spaghetti. And when you have to consciously think about what you're going to do with your anatomy, things don't pan out so well. So let's look at the kinetic chain itself, and then I'm going to give you a couple of scenarios where you're really going to understand that the tone in your hands and the tone in your arms have to relate to the shot that you're about to hit. So I've got 7-iron in my hands and I want some nice compression on the ball. So imagine a boxer getting ready to punch his heavy bag. He's got his gloves on, his wrists are all taped up, his hands are taped up inside the gloves because he needs to preform the hand. And when he's or she is punching the bag, we have compression happening. So you really have to have some solid tone through the arm into the fist to be able to compress that heavy bag. It's the same thing now. So imagine this is a bone that we're connecting to the bones of your body. These are your ligaments, tendons, and muscles that are wrapping around. So please, if you haven't seen our videos on grip, they are, I'm not being biased, they are the best in the world because we've really applied our homework to this. So these are incredible tools. So you're going to see grip part 2, and important grip update. And then you'll realize that when we get ready to squeeze a 7-iron, so let's say I get my stock 7-iron and I'm hitting at 180 yards out there, I need my intermediate point. So I'm actually going to go in line with the rough line here, and I'm hitting a little fade back to the flag sticks. So I'm going to set up with the rough line, play the club in the center, ball just slightly forward of that. And my task is to send my dandelion stem in the direction of my target. So notice how already my divot is coming out at the right place. And if you don't remember how that works, here's a 1-arm cut of grass. Notice the center of my machine is my right shoulder. Notice the club constantly cuts grass under that shoulder. So when you bring both hands together to take your grip, the center of the machine is now where the divot is going to tend to come out from. See, there's my divot. So if my ball position is close to center, slightly forward of center or slightly back of center, there's my fade. So the ball is just touching the center of my stance. I'm going to go along this rough line, and I'm getting ready to deliver a nice throw in that direction. Now I'm going to hit my fade over here. If I'm going to do a nice solid fade in that direction, full range of motion and full engagement of the kinetic chain, in slow motion, the brain's going to go get the ground. It uses the ground to get my body out of the way. So everything starts to unwind. If my grip pressure is holding like a bird, what's going to happen is that when the chain reaches my hands, everything will collapse. It's like if you had a catapult with a paper arm. The catapult's unloading, the paper arm is collapsing, and nothing happens. So we don't want you to have a short circuit because of a grip pressure that you're trying to hold like a bird or you're trying to be very soft with. So we want a secure grip. And if you remember our throwing the club video, if you haven't seen that yet, please go see throwing the club. If I throw the club and don't let go, it's like, whoa, I really felt that kinetic chain come through my hands, and my hands felt very, very solid on the club. and it felt like the club head was going to follow my kinetic chain out to my target very easily, okay? So I'm going to throw the club in that direction with ease and velocity, and I'm getting ready to feel that my grip and my arm tone, so if my grip is firm, my arm tone's going to be good, and it feels like I can throw in that direction and everything's going to follow. So here we go. Throw it that way. Nice flight. Just a little bit more to the right. There's my perfect divot. So notice that divot is very light on the ground. Maybe that was a quarter groove low. We'll do that again. Nice throw in that direction. Here we go. Perfect direction. Again, just a hair of a groove low, but it feels like everything is in place and it's following nicely in that direction. So now if I have a ball that's in the rough, so if I pull back over here and I try to deliver from the rough, so you notice how there's a lot of grass and behind the ball, I'm going to take a practice swing from the rough, and I'm going to gauge just how much resistance I'm going to get out of that. So that felt pretty good. Now, since I'm going to have a little bit of grass between my club and the ball, well, and the ball is sitting down, that grip pressure is going to intensify a little bit. So here we go, throwing the club in that direction. Slightly thin once again. Beautiful shot, and you can see the divot is exactly in the right place. So let's try that one more time. I'm going to fluff that up and nestle that ball in there. Now it feels like I really have to deliver on that. So I'll get a little lower, and I'm going to throw with a little bit more momentum. Here we go. There it is. That felt awesome. Super flush, and you could see how easy it was for that ball to come out. Now, sometimes you'll set up and you're sitting beautifully nice and high in the rough. That's going to feel very different. Can you sense it right now? If I were to take a ball and put it in a divot, and I had to hit this out of a divot, now the sole of the club has got to stay along the bottom of the divot, and that's going to require more firmness. And then if I had to hit one out of the rough where the ball's sitting way up like it was teed up, then the tension would be a lot less. I can already feel that my throw is going to be gentler. So my grip is still firm enough to follow with me. That felt incredible. And that was this far from the one where I was sitting down in the rough. And those two felt very different. So now if I put it in the divot itself, so if the sole of the club stays along the surface of the divot, the ball will meet the center of the face and it'll leap into the air. Same direction, same ball position. If I throw it in that direction, does it feel like the sole of the club is going to follow the bottom of the divot? Yes. So have a look at Predict Contact and the Goldilocks series. So now it feels like, yep, this is going to be solid contact. I'm going to use momentum to throw the club that way, and I feel like the bottom of the club is going through the bottom of that divot, and my grip pressure is already more firm than the previous one. Here we go. And there it is, right out of that divot, really solid. So notice how I continued the front of the divot. Typically when you're in a divot, here was the ball right in the center of that divot. I caught the ball first, and then the club had to continue along the ground through the front of the divot. And your brain has to be aware of what's about to transpire. So it's predicting that there's going to be a little bit more resistance through the front of that divot, and it needs to brace for that. You need to allow it to brace for that. And that's why you can't be thinking your way through tone and grip pressure, okay? So I hope that this really drives the point home. And then we'll do driver and fairway woods in our next video, and then I'm going to show you that tone and that softness for the specialty shots around the greens and, you know, the in-between clubs. See you soon.